today that were not present at our last hearing that was continued in progress? I don't believe that we do. So I'm going to skip over the checking in portion. I'm going to move right to just reading through that hearing script again, just so that we are all on the same page for the procedure today. And then we'll jump right into it. So this is the November 15th, 2023 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. The case before us today is a case that was continued in progress on November 8th. That's ZH20230156. That's 2830 Ambleside Place. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. Anyone from the public will then have an opportunity to present after the applicant has presented its case. If the applicant is represented by an attorney, the applicant's attorney may cross-examine any person who has testified at the hearing. If a party of record is represented by an attorney, the attorney for the party of record may present witnesses after the applicant has presented its case and may cross-examine any person who has testified at the hearing. Then in the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut that testimony and or argument offered in opposition. After the applicant has been given an opportunity to rebut any testimony offered in opposition, the attorney for a party of record may make a closing statement, and then finally the applicant may make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. To the extent there's some defect in the tech, though, that prevents us from me fully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay. I'd like to go ahead and again, just collectively, just for the record, collectively swear in all of our witnesses that are going to provide testimony here today. So if you intend on providing any testimony at all, if you could go ahead and take yourself off of mute and raise your right hand. Need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes.
I do. I do.
Okay, great. Mr. Burke, I wasn't sure exactly who you had there in the room today, or if they're going to be testifying.
They probably will not be testifying unless there are questions, but Ron Roughhouse, the tree arborist, is here. And then today, rather than being on the phone, both Donna and Dean Trindell are here with us as well.
Okay, great. Sounds good. All right. So I don't think that we really got into the substance at all of the application last time. So Mr. Zobrist, if you're ready to proceed, the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. My name is Kurt Zobrist. We are with Zobrist Design Group. We are the design build firm working with the Scarpidis on this project. The project in question is an addition to an existing structure of a house that was built approximately 100 years ago. The Scarpidis purchased the house in May of this year and had the intention of keeping the existing house in play while adding critical spaces to the house for today's lifestyle. The house has significant character that they'd like to keep, including stucco exterior and slate roof and authentic character. The addition being proposed is a 3-car garage addition with a kitchen that runs down the south side of the existing parcel, along with a porch extension on the rear of the house, which is on the east side of the parcel. These two additions were generated with the mindset of using the city visitability standards to allow the house to be a little bit more accessible from one floor versus using the existing garage that is in the basement around the rear of the home. The addition size was determined particularly due to current vehicle sizes and so forth for garages, as well as kitchens and dining spaces. If you look at the proposed site plan, you will notice that the proposed addition fits well within the underlying zoning setbacks for SF20 zoning restrictions. Today we're here because we're in a hillside overlay, which reduces those setbacks, and requesting variance for those reductions. The reductions we're requesting are on the front yard and rear yard. The rear yard setback variance we're requesting is 17 feet, and the front yard variance is 15 feet due to the hillside overlay district. One thing to note as well is the addition, with the addition and moving the vehicular access to the front for easy access to the first floor of the home. We will be reducing the amount of impervious water or surface area on the lot by removing the old driveway that wraps around the entire north and east side of the house. And that will all become pervious surface area, such as grass and landscape beds.
Does that existing driveway wrap around the back of the house?
It does.
Okay. And is that staying?
No, that is being removed.
So everything on the side and rear is going.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
And by doing that, we're recapturing a grassed rear yard that does not currently exist. The addition also helps Ambleside Place as far as vehicular parking. Ambleside is a relatively narrow private lane, approximately 20-foot wide. And when somebody parks on one side of Ambleside currently, it's very narrow to pass on the other side. And it's only one car that can pass. So if you get to a point where if somebody's coming in and somebody's going out Ambleside, there's no way to easily pass without maneuvering. The proposed addition will have 3 cars in it, with some additional parking out in front, for a total of at least 8 to 9 parking spaces off street, to alleviate some of the congestion that would happen on Ambleside Place. The new addition will have be tied into the existing sanitary and sewer, combined sanitary and sewer on Ambleside for downspouts and gutters and so forth, to help alleviate the new area of construction once it's all done. We've also planned to address any site runoff issues during construction with the application of silt fence and hay bales placed strategically at lower points of the lot to help slow down water runoff during construction.
Can you talk generally real quick about the topography of the lot? Is it sloping from front to back? Is that generally and
yes,
what type of a grade
the
are we
lot
talking?
slopes from front to back, and the addition was designed kind of at the brow of the hill, alleviating large cuts. So there's very little cut for the garage because it's essentially on grade. There is a 8-foot or 9-foot cut for the kitchen addition because it will have a basement below it. But that is also dealing with the topography, because by the time we get to the back of that addition, we essentially come out at grade.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
And then I guess lastly, we've spent some time with a landscape architect designing a landscape plan to take into consideration not only the parking out front with some coverage of plants and bushes and so forth, but also along the south side of the property line where there's some existing trees, specifically magnolias, that are of concern to both parties, the Scarpidis and the adjacent Trindle neighbors. I believe we've come to an agreement on how to try and best maintain those during construction to give them their best ability to live for the duration.
Do you anticipate any other adverse effects or impacts as a result of these setbacks, other than, I know that the trees have been a major focus, but any impact on light, air, things like that?
No, from when you walk the lot and you approach, we provide several pictures in our packet of the approach and surrounding neighbors. All of them seem to be within these kind of setbacks and so forth, especially the neighbor to the north. They're within 6 feet of the property on their south property line. So we believe we are definitely keeping in character with what's there.
Do you think the proposed setbacks are consistent with some of the other setbacks in the neighborhood in terms of proximity to property line?
Yes, and not specifically the neighborhood of an SF20 hillside projects in the general area.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mr. Zobrist, now before we move on?
I believe that covers everything that I had. If the homeowners, Andy or Christian, have anything to add, I would offer that up to them.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just speak up a little bit here on the importance of and why I'll say the addition is the way it is. Andy and I have owned 2 other houses, I'll say, of our professional life within Cincinnati, both within Hyde Park, both very old houses. So we love old houses, what drew us to this house. But with this house, it's our forever home. Hopefully we don't renovate again. And so I have a mother that is completely paralyzed from the waist down, lives in Dayton, but we need to have a first floor option for her, should she come visit, and bringing her down, or God forbid, I have to pull her from our nursing home. So having the additional parking for the transport vehicle, as well as just having a first floor kind of living, bedroom type space is incredibly important, hence why the addition is including that kitchen, so we can recapture a first floor primary to allow for that, because I am an only child and I am the only family member still living, so I have sole responsibility for her.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Anything, Andrew, before we move to the public?
No, thank you.
Okay, great. I can't tell if Ms. Islam is with us here, but now would be your opportunity if you'd like to provide anything. And can you confirm that you are a neighbor? Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a neighbor. I'm at 2474 Grandin Road.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Is there anything you'd like to?
I just my husband and I just wanted to show our support for the Scarpides renovation. I mean, we recently, in the past 5 years, had a hearing with you as well for a big renovation, and it's not easy. And of course, we all want to respect our neighbors, but these old homes have to be renovated rather than torn down. And I'm glad that they're doing that. So I think it looks great.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you for being here twice and providing that perspective. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Okay. I think now we can move on to Mr. Burke, if you're still with us.
Yes, sir.
Your video. Can anyone else see his video? No? Okay.
Can you hear me? Apparently we are having a video issue here.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine, just can't see the video.
Okay.
Um,
I apologize for that. We had it set up earlier today and it's gone haywire on us.
okay. How did what did you want to offer today? Did you want to cross-examine anyone, or?
No, I don't think it's necessary to cross-examine anyone. Because we were able to reach an agreement between the Trindells and the Scarpettis, and it's an agreement which I think benefits everyone. It does take some significant steps to preserve the existing magnolias as well as another tree in front of the house that helps do what the hillside regulations call for, and that those even begin with, among its purposes, is minimizing the destruction of mature trees. And that's what we are doing here with the conditions that have been reached, and those also are reflected in some of the conditions. I was going to show it, but I have in my hand the Cincinnati Hillside Development Guidelines, which are part of the standards. And that's what we were trying to meet. And I believe we have in cooperation with the Scarpettis. And as a result, I think jointly, and I believe Kurt will join in this request, we are requesting that should you determine to approve the application, that you include in the application the 3 conditions that are a part of the agreement that we reached. And those 3 conditions go specifically to terms associated with meeting the Hillside Development Guidelines. We'd be happy to answer any questions about that. Ron Rothaus, the arbor doctor, is here. He can describe in more details how the mitigation mats would work and help preserve the trees, if that would be helpful, although we did discuss that a little bit when we were here last time. But the good news is, I think we've reached an agreement. The Trindells have no objections as long as these conditions are put in place to help preserve the trees, which are partially on their property and partially on the Scarpetti property.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that I need, as long as there's, I mean, agreement amongst the 2 parties. I don't know that I need to hear more detail on preservation of the trees. It sounds like you both are going to make a good faith attempt to keep the trees, and both have agreed to include the conditions that were sent this week, either yesterday or Monday, as a part of any approval of this application. Is that
By the way,
everyone's understanding?
yes, and to add to that, Kurt had submitted documents which are important to the agreement. He submitted those last week prior to the hearing. We didn't have the final agreements worked out. Those have now been submitted as well. I think we both want to make sure that all of those are included in the record, and the conditions themselves are included in your decision.
Okay, so all of the documents that Mr. Zobrist has sent will be a part of the record. To be clear, though, the only conditions that are that you all are asking to be included as a part of the approval are the ones attached to the signed agreement that came in yesterday.
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Okay. Okay. Yep. Yes. Every document will be admitted that's been sent by Mr. Zobrist or submitted in the initial packet. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Burke, before we move on?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks, Mr. Burke, for your time and it's not technically testimony, but what you've offered here today. So thank you. Mr. Munzel, I'm going to move to the zoning department. You prepared a staff report on this. Would you like to share some of your findings?
Yeah, sure. I just highlighted that overall we felt the requests were reasonable given the context and the abutting in 2 lots, the depth of the lots. The cut and fill review indicates, and in my opinion, is relatively minor amount of cut and fill. The garage is not really going to be excavated because it's going to be at grade, maybe a slight filling there. And then the cut at the uphill point, of the kitchen area is the largest, direct cut. And I think it's, 6 to 7 feet or something like that, which is fairly minor in the scheme of things. And that we, as far as findings, thought that everything was reasonable request and wouldn't negatively impact the views of others nearby. So thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Wes. I appreciate that. And Wes, one question, just for the record, Mr. Zobrist said that this would, without the hillside overlay district, this would otherwise comply with the SF20 setbacks. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes. The
Okay.
side setback requirements for SF20 are 10 feet, and I think he's at 10 point something, and then the rear is, I think, 35-foot requirement, and he's well over that.
Okay, great. Just wanted to confirm that. Thanks, Wes.
Sure.
All right. Turning back to Mr. Zobrist, now is your opportunity to respond to anything that you've heard either from Wes or anyone else, and make any closing remarks or otherwise.
No new information. I think everything that's been presented today has been well thought out and well vetted over the last 4 or 5 months, and we believe we've taken the best steps to provide the best options possible.
Okay. All right, great. We'll leave it at that then. I want to thank everyone for their patience, their time, their testimony, being willing to have some more discussions about this. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report, all the additional materials, including those that were sent yesterday. And I think based on all of that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, that I will be approving the application. I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular project. And so I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I think I may have mentioned this last week, but I'm going to do everything I can to get that to you as quickly as possible so that you all can get moving on this. And what I do as soon as I finish the decision, I put it in a PDF. I'll email it to all the parties that are here so you all will have a copy of it. And then as soon as Wes has that copy, he can approve the zoning permitting on his end, and hopefully you all can take the next steps and move forward. Any questions about all that? Kurt, I know you're familiar with that process. So, okay.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, great. Well, if you have any questions about anything in the meantime, feel free to reach out to me. I should note that I am going to include the conditions of the signed agreement as a part of this approval. So those will all need to be met. But other than that, this is moved. This is approved, and hopefully you all can get started.
Sounds great.
Okay. Great. Thank you all again. Appreciate all your time and testimony. Hope you have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful day and good luck on the project.
Thank you, David, for your time.